to Mr. Ahmed. You mentioned about starting your law firm and you choosing the name American Dream. I understand you passed the bar in Miami, but also you're now licensed to do. You've passed the bar or join another states to, I think, DC or
Washington DC, and I'm working on my New York admission right now as we speak.
Okay.
So I'm a lawyer in Florida, Washington DC right now, and I'm working on my admission in New York. But in the United States, because immigration is federal law, I actually can practice in any state in the United States. So my practice is international. I get cases from literally from all over the world, and I represent people in all over the country. I have cases in Virginia and Texas and in Michigan and in New York. So it doesn't matter. I don't have any restriction on when I can practice in the U.S.
That's one of the most common questions I receive normally from non-US citizens or people not living in the US. They don't have to, if they are outside the US, they can hire a solicitor or find a lawyer. I used to say solicitor at the UK. They can find an attorney. It doesn't have to be in the same state they have the issue or the investment or the visa. So if they are coming from Egypt or the Middle East, Africa, Asia, whatever, they can hire you directly. They don't have to hire someone in New York or California or where the issue is happening. Especially immigration is a federal in the US.
Yes, you can hire someone who's licensed in any state to actually help you with any sort of case that you have.
Okay, so actually, when you need to hire someone in the state, someone in Florida doesn't have to. It's when he needs someone, and immigration have to be licensed in the state itself, like in Florida or New York. What's the difference between?
Only when you need to hire an attorney in the state where you're living, if it's related, if it's an issue that's related to state law. So, for example, if you want to hire me for formation of an LLC in Florida or Washington DC, I'll be able to help you. But if you want to hire me for an LLC formation in Georgia or in Texas, I won't be able to do that. Now, I do have my own connections to help you do that. That's not an issue. But if it's related to state law, you actually have to hire someone to do the case for you in the state where you're trying to establish your LLC or do a contract or anything like that. It has you have to actually hire someone in that state.
Okay, that's amazing to know. So getting back to one of your aspects or one of your most experience is the business immigration. If you can give us, if any entrepreneur or an investor outside the US and he would like to achieve the American dream, what kind of visas, if you can go through the couple of, we'll not be able to go through everything, but if you consider this as a question, someone, I'm an investor, I'm from the UAE and I would like to relocate to the US with my family. What is my option to get a visa to US and reside with my family as an investor?
So let's talk about someone, for example, who has a B1, B2 visa. They can come to the United States right now and apply for some sort of visa in the United States. We think about it as you have a B1 visa. It allows you to stay in the US for 6 months. And you want to get all the way to getting permanent residence, which is the green card. You're going to need a bridge between the B1, B2 and the green card. And that bridge could be several other visas. But the two that come to mind are the E2 visa and what's called the L1 visa. The E2 visa is The E2 visa is for 40 nationals of 46 countries around the world that the United States has some sort of treaty with. So the oldest treaty that we have is the one with the UK. So they say that a UK citizen wants to come to the United States under the Amity Treaty that we have with the UK, you can actually apply to get the visa in the UK, open a business here in the United States, and you're able to actually go into the United States to run that e-enterprise under the nationality of the country that you have. So the e-visa is actually a very good option for a lot of entrepreneurs. We have a lot of Arab countries that actually have treaties with the United States, Jordan, Bahrain, and a couple of other ones. And almost every EU country actually has it. So we have, that's the majority of the cases that I work with. I've done a lot of cases from Canada, all of that stuff. So, but let's say that the person doesn't have the nationality of those countries that have an E2 visa an E visa with the United States. We can also, some countries allow you to do a donation, for example, or buy their nationality, and then you can actually, as a national of that country, you can actually come to the United States and apply for under the E2 program.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I mean, for example, someone who was born in Saudi Arabia, he have the KSA passport, but he moved to the UK 10 years ago, and now he's British citizen. So he can apply to the E2 visa as a British citizen. That's right?
Yes.
And this will be the same scenario for people, for example, Grenada. Grenada have the E2 visa treaty with the US. So if they invested at the Caribbean passport at the Grenada only, they would be able to use the citizenship from Grenada to get into the US at the E2 treaty visa. That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. That's and also Turkey. Turkey is one of the E2 treaty. Yes. Okay.
I do a lot of work in Turkey, actually.
Okay. So you mentioned the L1 and then the E2. What kind of other visas are the business immigrants people that can be exploring in the US?
There's work visas, there's an H visa, there's an H1B visa, there is an H2 visa, but those are not really for entrepreneurs, and they don't allow for self-employment. So that's the two that are mostly used for entrepreneurs are these two visas that I spoke about. It's E2 and or the E visa and the L visa.
What about the EB3? I mean, there's a lot of hypes going now there's a lot of firms promoting the EB3, and they give you like a job access to the US. Have you worked in this before, or you recommend this type of visa?
I do recommend the EB3, but here's the issue. And I've done a couple of these right now. I actually have an appeal in front of the German embassy that denied an EB3 visa for one of my clients. The problem with EB3 is there are very specific things that you have to do, and the EB3 timeline right now is about 3.5 to 4 years for you to be able to come to the US, depending on which part of the EB3 preference that you have. And unfortunately, there are a lot of firms in the United States that are not that ethical. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to say that they're unethical. They're not supposed to get, they hire recruiters, so it's recruiters have certain amount of visas and all of that stuff. And for you to be able to come here to the United States on an EB3, you're going to have to pay for that job offer. And I just don't do that.
Understand.
And a lot of times, and I've seen a lot of people actually for scams for EB3. So if you do have a job offer and it's a bona fide job offer, I will be more than happy to do an EB3 petition for you. It does take some time for the EB3 priority dates to become current. The issue that you're going to have is that you're going to have to wait a very long time for you to actually get the green card and process the green card. And the U.S. Embassy and the consulates are so good that they actually know if that job offer is actually bona fide or not. So you're going to go through a 3.5 to 4 year process, and at the end, you might actually get denied. So all I'm saying is EB3 is actually a very, very good a program to actually come to the United States. Just make sure that you're doing your due diligence and you're actually doing what you're supposed to, so you do not get scammed.
Yeah, I understand. That's mostly happened before in the and the other immigration programs. But now there's a lot of things happen online. There is a lot of firms doesn't follow the guidelines as attorneys, or the you can say they overpromise and underdeliver. Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah. Normally that firms is under you can say overpromise and underdeliver. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's good. So going, I mean, we will have different, you can say, episodes about the business immigration to the US with more details. But now we're going through, you can say, an overview about the programs available. So then the next thing we would like to discuss about the family immigration. A non-US citizen would like to move to the US. He's married to US citizen or someone holding a green card. What kind of timeline, the processes, best advice you can give to individuals who would like to do the journey?
There are several family petitions. So there's something called an immediate family, or an immediate relative of a United States citizen. These people don't have to wait for a visa number to become available. All they have to do is actually go through the process. Immediate relatives don't actually have to wait for a visa number. They apply for them as soon as the processing is done. Here in the United States, the case gets sent to the embassy. After the embassy finishes the processing, they come here to the United States. That's not an issue. The issue where we run an issue is in family preferences. Before we get their family preference, the immediate relatives are spouses, children, and parents of U.S. citizens. So if you're one of these three categories, you don't have to wait for a visa number to become available, and you can come to the United States with minimal, probably 1.5 to 2 year processing time if you're outside the United States. If you're not one of these three people, you're going to have to wait for a visa number to become available. And those preferences, we have 4 or 5 preferences. They range from single children of a United States citizen who's over 21, all the way to the brother or sister of a U.S. citizen. And we're going from 1 to 2 years of visa wait times, all the way to about 15 to 16 years of visa wait times. And depending on the country, sometimes the wait times for visa numbers to become available are 25 to 30 years. So if you're from the Philippines, for example, right now your wait time is about 30 years. If you're in the brother or sister category. So it depends on which country you're from and which preference category you actually fall under.
That's a lot of time to wait. I understand. So it's always much better before you process any application is to check the application itself, the advice from a licensed attorney like yourself in the US, to make sure that the amount of time and investment you will do in anything related to US immigration is right. You are following the rules and regulation, because that's your advice generally.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I mean, what is the weirdest you can say scam that you have seen, that someone outside the US was promised something and then he went and then he applied actually and then go to the US, and then when he went to the US, he actually found that what he's doing is actually scam. It's not true.
I have, again, I've been doing this for 15 years, so what people don't understand is that even before coming here to the United States, when you go to that interview, if you're not granted a visa waiver by the U.S. consulate, the U.S. consular officers have seen everything under the sun. They have seen brothers marrying sisters. They've seen mothers marrying their own sons to actually get a green card. So if you don't actually convince the consular officer that your marriage is bona fide, if you're coming here under a marriage visa, you're not going to even step foot into the United States. The problem is people are so desperate overseas to come to the United States. they do a lot of things that they're not supposed to. So, for example, right now in the United States, you can pay someone $25,000 to marry you and give you a green card. 90% of the time, when you do that, even if you come to the United States, the person that you marry is going to ask you for more money. It's not going to add the $20,000.
Yes, that's right.
So why spend $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 to come to the United States by marrying someone under a fake marriage, when you can actually use that money to come to the United States the proper way? I actually had a case last year where the person was actually not even a U.S. citizen, and he was using somebody else's identity. He petitioned for the person for a fiancé visa. They came all the way here to the United States, and they ended up getting a green card. But guess what? The person who petitioned for them, who was using somebody else's identity, got caught for using somebody else's identity, and they ended up being an undocumented immigrant. They didn't even have to and actually had a very bad criminal record, and they're right now in federal prison. And the poor person actually is losing their green card because the U.S. government is rescinding the permanent residence for her and her children. So just make sure that you are doing things the right way. And if it doesn't smell and feel right, just don't do it.
So that's not American dream. That would be American nightmare. Actually, it's like
there are a lot of scams. There really are a lot of scams.
Yes, yeah. Understand. So always check the sources. Make sure the right of information. I mean, if you're investing, because I've seen this a lot of times, some people can invest 50K USD to go through someone who's not someone, and you don't want to pay $500 or $1,000 to check actually that this kind of deal is actually real. That's and they always come to the lawyer or the attorney after they have been failed and they scammed.
Absolutely. I've seen people go through the EB-5 program and spend $1 million when the number was $1 million, and they spent $1 million and they were promised to come to the U.S. And after they spent everything, went through the 528 and all of that stuff, the person took the money and left. The person, the regional center director, literally took the money and left.
It took just one case, all the cases.
No. They did it for, I think it was 80 investors.
Oh my God! So that was sophisticated scam. It's not just an individual.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And without doing your due diligence and making sure that the regional center is legitimate and everything, you're gonna lose your money. So
yeah, that's right.
You can go through brokers and everything. You're just pretty much flushing your money down the toilet if you don't do your due diligence.
Yes. At the end of the day, it's someone, a licensed attorney in the US, have to process your application. So it's much better to bypass the broker and make sure. I mean, we don't advise not to use the brokers, but sometimes brokers doesn't use the ethical way, or they always overpromise and they always underdeliver, because it's like selling. They like McDonald's. They're selling a lot of burgers. They are not actually seeing what kind of you can say mistakes or nightmares they will be able to see at the end of the day when case turn to bad. Okay, that's amazing. So
you spoke about brokers. Let me just talk for 30 seconds about that.
Okay.
I'm a member of the Florida bar. Okay. When we first spoke about 6-7 years ago, you told me that you're a lawyer in Egypt and you're getting your certification in the UK. Because you didn't have the certification in the UK, we couldn't work on cases together.
That's right, yeah.
Right? And that's what I told you from the beginning, because as a US attorney, I cannot work with someone who is not a lawyer overseas.
Yeah.
So I can't work with you. I can't do any of that. I can't even give you anything of value. So if you send me a case as a broker, I can't send you a bottle of your favorite drink or $500 gift card for you to go spend at your favorite place.
Okay.
So how is a U.S. attorney who is working with a broker doing it ethically?
It have to be something, which is not unethically. Yeah, that's right. That's totally right. I understand.
I represented someone in deportation proceedings who went through a broker, got a student visa, came here all the way to the United States, and to find out that the actual university that the broker got him admitted into was actually a sting operation that the U.S. government was using to catch scammers.
That's ours. That's tough. That's tough.
And it cost him $30,000 for me to go to deportation proceedings and defend them.
Yeah, and they have to start all over again. It's not just about losing the money. They lost all the time they've been in the US,
yes.
And they might have a criminal history, whatever. It's like, so it's going back to zero. It's even minus zero. It's not that. Okay, that's amazing. That's that's more than we expected. This is our first show together. We will have another shows because me and Mr. Ahmed, we speak both Arabic, so we can have another shows in Arabic language. But we will have in English and Arabic, because actually there's a lot of you can say in different communities who would like to get such information, especially from two of us. I'm presenting the UK and other countries, and Ahmed is representing the US with his a lot of experience. So if any of our viewers would like to reach you directly, what's the best way to approach you or set up a consultation with you?
We have several ways to do it. The easiest way, we have a WhatsApp number, which is +1 727 301 9328. You can actually talk to us on WhatsApp. You can also go to our website, which is AmericanDreamLawOffice.com, and you can actually schedule an intake session. Using the AmericanDreamLawOffice.com, you can actually schedule from there. Go to AmericanDreamLawOffice.com/schedule, and you'll be able to schedule a strategy session with me.
Perfectly. And you will be able to process applications in how many languages?
We have Arabic, English, Spanish. I have done them with a lot of. I have translators that I can hire. I can do cases anywhere around the world. That doesn't matter. So just that you don't want to be looking for a lawyer who speaks your language. You want to be looking for an excellent lawyer.
Okay.
And the translators are a dime a dozen. So we can hire translators anytime we want.
Okay, so look for experience, not just look for the language familiarities. That's right?
Yes.
Okay, perfectly.
All right.
That's amazing, Mr. Ahmed. I appreciate you all your time, and that's amazing show. I'm sure that we'll get tons of questions because the US is always a hot topic, and your experience is unmatched. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will welcome you back soon.
Thank you, Mohamed. Thank you so much.
Stay global.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.